Who believes that police measures can provide for healthy food? Who wrote this bill that trashes the freedoms of everybody's lives? Well, of course, it came from agents of Monsanto. It is both cruel and insane. And the deceptiveness of the United States government in hiding a Patriot Act in a food bill and the brutal rush to run it through Congress as quickly as possible is one of the most anti-democratic moves that has been witnessed in modern history. So here's a word to any police officers or Homeland Security personnel. If you're out there and you're listening to this, and if you just happen to be brainwashed enough to enforce any such corrupt legislation as Bill HR2749, understand that if you enforce this legislation, then you are guilty of crimes against humanity. You are guilty of undermining the security of your nation, and you are guilty of treason. And being so, any steps taken by the citizens to defend against your actions are wholly justified. And not only that, but according to the US Constitution, defending against you and removing the criminals who enacted these corrupt bills from power is in fact the duty of every citizen of the United States. The government knows this, which is why it works so hard to brainwash a lot of the army and police personnel in the country. And the same happens in my country, and the same goes for any of the police in my country. Police officers who enforce this type of legislation are guilty of treason, because this type of legislation is an undermining of national security, pure and simple. Because it is the people of the nation who are sovereign. And so national security should be seen as meaning that the people of the nation are secure. And this bill ensures that the people of the nation are certainly not secure. In fact, the people of the nation are facing a very, very grave danger from the criminals who have taken control of the government. And folks, there's another thing that's been happening lately. I mean, if you're still asleep and you don't believe what's going on here, and you don't believe the looming police state that's coming, and everything that's being done with this avian flu and these food bills and martial law and everything that's coming, here's a nice job description. You can go and look this up on the net. You can go and find it yourself. You can go to monster.com, a very reputable site. And there's a job description there. You can go and get a job as an internment and resettlement specialist for the Army National Guard. Okay, they want internment and resettlement specialists. Can you see what this is, folks? You can go and get a job at one of the concentration camps. They're applying for staff at one of the 800 FEMA detention camps that they've got set up around the United States. As an internment resettlement specialist for the Army National Guard, you will ensure the smooth running of military confinement correctional facilities or detention internment facilities, similar to those duties conducted by a civilian corrections officer. This will require you to know proper procedures and military law and have the ability to think quickly in high-stress situations. Specific duties may include assisting with supervision and management operations, providing facility security, providing custody, control, supervision and escort, and counseling individual prisoners in rehabilitative programs. This is a job in a concentration camp. They're advertising for staff. Folks, if you can't see what's coming, well, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. You must be taking too much fluoride or something. But there are still a lot of people who just seem to only believe the TV. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So what else have we got happening on the swine flu front, folks? The proposal to establish regional teams of military personnel to assist civilian authorities in the event of a significant outbreak of H1N1 this fall is still awaiting final approval from Defence Secretary Robert Gates. But as I spoke to you last week, the plan calls for a military task force to work in conjunction with FEMA, and but there's still no final decision on how it would be manned. It's said to probably include all branches of the military. It's yet to be determined how many troops would be needed and whether or not they would come from active duty or from the National Guard Reserve Forces. So you can see here, this is where this ad ties in, okay, with the swine flu. They're talking about they're going to bring in the military. They want to use the military to enforce vaccinations, or coordinate vaccinations, as they say, help with the coordination, help with the efforts to keep you all safe, of course, folks. And you see they're advertising for internment and resettlement specialists to help with rehabilitation of people and prisoners, right, civilian prisoners. So this is how it's all tying together, folks. You can see they're doing all this. They're bringing in all these new laws, all this food stuff. So we're not going to be able to have any healthy food. They're going to just feed us in on chemicals. This is the big eugenics program. This is what they're doing. They're going to kill off the people they don't want. They're going to make sure that the people who are left alive are fed on chemicals and fed on all the stuff they want them to, which will keep them completely under control. This is the way it's all happening. So they're trying to get people to come on board this. But I mean, of course, the people that come on board will be the first people to get microchipped, and I wouldn't want to be one of the people who does go and get a job for these organizations, because the amount of abuse they will be subject to, and the amount of God knows what chemicals or drugs they'll test on these people as well. So it's pretty scary all around, folks. So the best thing to deal with the problem and to fix all the problems we face really is to address the corruption that exists at the absolute highest levels of our governments and our societies. So in talking about the swine flu, they're going to say that civilian authorities would help lead any relief efforts in the event of a major outbreak, and the military would be like the military would help them the way they do for other things like natural disasters or other significant emergency situations. So as a first step, Defence Secretary Gates is being asked to sign a so-called execution order that would authorize the military to begin to conduct the detailed planning to execute the proposed plan. The orders to deploy actual forces would be reviewed later, depending on how much of a health threat the flu poses this fall. So they're putting all this in place, and they're saying, well, we don't know whether we're going to just deploy this. We're just putting all this in place just in case we need to. In case there's an outbreak, we are putting all of these military, and we're positioning them all over the country, just in case we need military all over the country, in case there's a major flu outbreak. So we've got to put soldiers all over the country in strategic points. We've got to get control of all the food and pass this food bill so that we control all the nutrients you're getting. And then we're going to mandate vaccination to keep you all safe. Oh, and by the way, while we're doing it, we just have some positions vacant if you're anyone out there who would like to work at a concentration camp. Come on, folks. How much do these people have to do before you're going to say, well, hang on a minute, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore, Toto. I think maybe we left Kansas a long time ago and we're now in Nazi Germany. Because this is what's happening, folks. This is what these people are doing. They're just putting all this in place, just putting all of these things all around the place just because we might need it there just to keep all of you safe. Okay? Like, the implications of what these people are doing is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal, and it points towards the militarization of all civilian law enforcement, public health, food, everything. And this is happening right across Western nations because they had the national level exercise. So they're doing this, well, not globally, but right across all of our nations. They're doing it across England, Canada, Mexico, Australia, the United States. It's all happening, folks. They are combining the military, intelligence gathering, law enforcement, food, everything of these countries, and they are militarizing the whole lot of it, folks. You know, the Pentagon's already talking about the number of troops that we'll have to deploy, and it has a view towards supporting a mass vaccination program.